Hey guys, just a small note. On the podcast, you're going to hear a lot of rendering Jai, but recently I renamed the podcast to Rendering with Jai. And I know that it doesn't really matter, and most of you have lost interest by this point, anyways, but I just wanted to let you know. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to podcast number 2 of Rendering J. Assuming that you even came back to listen to this to hear what we have to say. Today, on this episode of Turntables, we have a special guest.
Hello. Hello, world. My name is Roshan. What's going on?
Yeah! Oh, we should have had the.
Oh wait, no, I can do it. I set it up.
Okay. Rufus is gonna. And we also have Rufus, who set up the whole system.
Yeah.
But that's not important. That's not really integral.
Nice, Rufy.
So we're just going to discuss certain things. We have some stuff written down, but if it doesn't go according to plan, that's okay. What do you think?
I'm down.
You're down?
Looking forward to this.
Before we start, we're gonna try to time it so we don't go too crazy, so that way the people listening don't lose interest. And don't worry, at the end we'll surprise each listener with a gift card courtesy of Roshan.
Yeah, right.
And just kidding. And so also, if they're just remember that since this is going to go public, just think that there's no personal info that you might want to release. So if you're thinking about saying someone's name, maybe if you want to replace it with a different fake name or something like that.
Got you.
And even like personal info of like addresses and stuff. Just think about it before speaking.
Got you. Just your address. It's fine.
Just use my address and last 4 digits of my social security
Sounds
and the first 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
All right. So Rufus, you got the soundboard set up?
No, so I had restarted. I had updated my phone
Oh, man.
to iOS 13.
Oh, hey.
And
Dark mode?
Dark mode, and then now I got. And now I have to
Now,
sign
now
in.
you're dark mode right now.
Now I have to sign into iTunes, and I don't remember my password.
Dark mode.
So
We'll talk about the audacity of iPhone users to think that they got everything first. We'll talk about that on a different podcast, right, Roshan?
Yeah, I'm down.
Wait. You're gonna switch to iPhone soon, though, right?
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I was.
You
I
were.
was.
And then
I saw the truth.
the truth that was there.
Yeah.
that's about all I can do.
That's pretty good. I'm
Okay.
down for that.
All right, cool.
Currently, we have our Dunkin' cups covered.
Chill. It's not Dunkin'. It looks like it.
It
but
looks
it's
like
not.
it, but we're actually dunked.
For those listening in, we have.
We
Dunkin'.
dunk out. That's what we
Dunk
do.
out.
I've been trying to get this.
Rufus just,
I've been.
Rufus
I don't care.
just showed his Dunkin' cup.
It's not my podcast.
Dunkin' Donuts sponsor us.
I've been trying to get.
Sponsor
I've been
us.
trying to get this little chunk of chocolate here to disappear, and it's not happening. So any associates of Dunkin' Donuts listening, tell me how I can fix that.
Yeah, Rufus would like a refund if if he can return the product as well within 30
Also,
days.
Dunkin' Donuts. Y'all used to do T-Mobile Tuesdays, and you don't do that anymore.
There's another sponsor that's not sponsoring us.
Hold the cream.
Hold the cream.
Do we want to plug Hold the Cream right
Oh,
now?
obviously.
All right, Roshan's
Okay,
gonna.
Roche, that's up to you.
Me, Rufus, Jairus, Ike, and Dennis are all from a band. Hold the cream. Follow us. Hold the cream band.
Where did they follow us on?
Hold the cream band, on Instagram and YouTube.
I think it's just called Hold the Cream, right?
Hold the
on
cream.
Instagram?
Yeah.
And our email address is
Hold the cream band.
We're trying to make it big. So
Make us big.
Make us big. We're trying to make it so big that we surpass our 1 viewer count.
Yes.
So make it happen. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. We've already done one public event. How did that go?
It was great.
It was great. We need Ike and Dennis to give their
Honest
honest
opinions. Yeah, I'm down. We should do that.
All right. So, Rosh, sort of, why don't you just like tell us how you are, what is the reason, what events transpired to this very moment that I would be like, hey, come to our house so we can record a podcast. What is your relation to us?
Oh,
Did we just
my
pick you off the
relation?
street? Like, what happened?
So, one day I saw Jairus on the floor.
Which floor? The dance floor.
The dance.
If that's the case, y'all wouldn't be friends right now.
No, let's see. I met Jairus in college. We were in the same psychology class. and so I was sitting there by myself, and Jairus.
This was about 7 feet of hair before.
Less.
Yeah,
I was
Less, yeah.
cliche for those listening in.
This is on an alternate dimension because the exact opposite is what happened with God.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I was sitting in my normal class, and this Indian kid walks in,
Yeah.
and he sits right next to me,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna talk to me.
He's so cute.
He's so cute. He bad." And then I left. I ran out of the room, but he followed me, and he's like, "Hi, my name's Jairus."
So you skipped class and you ran out of the room.
at the end of class.
Out of your psych class, your major, you
Yeah.
skipped.
At the end of class, I ran out.
Oh, okay. So basically, the reverse of that is
Yeah,
what happened on Earth 1, and Earth 2 is what happened with your reality. Right?
Correct,
Oh,
correct.
okay. Okay.
Is this recording? Can
It
you
is-
see?
It is recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that's cute.
How did
and
I
all.
meet Roshan?
And then so we would always me and Jared started hanging out more and became friends. And then I would meet you at different. I came to some church stuff
Did I meet you outside of Abington first?
outside of Abington. Yeah,
Really?
For sure.
yeah.
Oh, it had to be. 'cause
I had
Rufus,
to.
Or
Rufus
no,
wasn't
but
in
I
it.
would always come to Abington stuff.
Oh, you would. But
So-
I met you before. definitely
Abington
before
is our
Abington.
school. That's the name of the school.
Yeah, Penn State Abington.
So I feel like I came to maybe a Sasa show.
Oh, yeah, you came to Sasso
So
show.
I
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where I met you. Or
We-
like when he used to do open mics, remember?
Open mics. Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably where too.
There's no way. Open mics were during lunch, right?
No, open mic. I remember coming in the evening. How would I come during the day?
No, the Lion Showcase.
Lion Showcase.
Yeah.
That's where he met you, really?
No, I met you. Definitely. I came to your house before. I dropped him off while he was. I definitely dropped you off before, and we hung out.
That's where you met each other.
Well, me and Rufus are cool now.
Yeah. You guys had beef before, right?
We had beef before.
Now we
and
have
then you guys ate it.
now
and
we have
then-
chicken.
Now you have chicken.
I had the opportunity one year to trim Roshan's beard for
Oh,
him.
that was great,
That made our bond eternal.
dude. It did. If you can look at Janoon
Literal-
2017,
Janoon 2017.
look at that video.
But you've never cut your hair since then.
I haven't cut my hair since then. That's correct. It has grown.
How
Oh,
long?
Really?
Yeah.
How long? How long? How many years?
It's been almost 4 years.
Dang.
4 years of growth
4 years ago.
for a good cause.
For no cause.
I was just about to ask. Because usually people.
We're narrowing down all the reasons why, because Roshan won't really tell us why, so we're just trying to narrow down the reasons.
And this podcast is what I'll tell you guys.
No.
You will actually
No cause.
no cause.
Another time.
Another time. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was always wondering. I was
Mhm.
like, because eventually,
Mhm.
do you plan on cutting it in the future?
So, I grew out my hair to grow out this length. Like, it's like down to my back. And I was like, I want that long. Now that's this long, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. So like, if let's say you do have plans in the future,
Mhm.
you want to go, you want to just trim, or do you like if you do cut it short?
You
Are
know
you
how
gonna?
long Joshin's hair is? Joshin's my brother. It's like down to his shoulders.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Joshin. Follow him on Instagram at Joshin.
Joshin
At
Phillip.
Joshin Phillip.
At
Uh,
Joshin. Period.
You want to go up to that length?
The shortest I'll go is Joshin's length. Yes.
So, but that's still a good amount
Mhm.
of hair.
Yeah.
So, would you donate?
I would donate it if I did cut it. I
Yeah,
would donate
why
it.
not?
Yeah.
Can you donate beard hair? Is that possible?
No,
I don't think people
they don't want it.
want that.
They wouldn't want my beard hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
Are you sure you've asked?
Yes. No, I haven't. I'm sure my beard hair is curly. Those of you listening in, my beard hair is curly.
How long do you want your beard hair to grow?
This is a good length, but I've been trimming it actually. I've been trimmed. It was like, I don't know if you got those watching. You can see my beard hair was like this.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
Jairus
yeah,
and
yeah,
Rufus,
that's
no,
true,
it was like
that's
this.
true.
Remember?
That's true.
It was out more.
It was out more, so I
Yeah.
trimmed it. So I've been trimming it to become like human.
I see.
Yeah.
I keep having to adjust both their mics because they're such amateurs.
Yeah. Jairus, James.
I not only have to
we better
adjust
render you out of here.
not my guitar. Not only have I had to adjust the placement of his mic, but now I have to adjust volumes
Yeah.
because I have no idea where he's gonna be.
I'll be right here. I'll be there for you. Da-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be
My
there-
brother has never even seen Friends.
And-
He's
wow,
not qualified to
poser.
see.
I don't need to see. I have.
He's
one.
not qualified to see it.
I have one. I have them. I have one right here.
Oh,
You got a friend in me.
not saying different languages.
I did that already once.
He did that for the Lion Showcase.
I only remember one of the. So for the Lion Showcase, one time I can't hear myself. I did You Got a Friend in Me, but in different languages.
Yeah.
Just that part of the chorus. So the only part I remember is the Chinese part.
Fun fact: Jairus won one of the line showcases in college.
I did it duet.
It still counts.
Yeah, that's true.
You still won.
Anyways, enough about me, Roshan. You didn't travel 40 minutes here just to hear me talk about myself.
I did not.
Wow, you're supposed to counter that. You're supposed to say no. All right. So, you told us about how you met us. So let's talk about something a little bit more generic, but still relates to you.
Okay.
We had talked with the fam about your job.
Okay.
Is there anything in your job that you sort of didn't really mention to us, but you think would be something that's good to be talked about in general in discussion?
So what do I do?
I feel like by the end of this podcast, my mic will not be existing. Roshan is gonna eat it slowly by slowly.
I know, right? I'm
Roshan got
freezing.
hungry.
Roshan got hungry. No, but go ahead. No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
What do you want me to
Or
do?
did he? All right. So tell us, like, give like a brief 30-second introduction of what your job is.
30 seconds.
30
So
seconds.
basically, right now I'm working at two places. My main place I'm working at a place for kids with autism, and we do like ABA therapy. So we work on social and vocational skills in order to help them become part of the real world in terms of communication, understanding social cues and social behaviors. And then we have after school program that deals with all disabilities and try to same goals, social vocational skills, and get them part of the real world. So both programs are trying to get them assimilated into the real world. Yes.
Okay. So, you already told us a little bit about before, like you told my dad about the stuff that you mentioned downstairs. So, is there anything about this job that made you like made you do some 180s on certain things you thought about, like maybe your future career or what you thought about autistic people, or like what you learned about,
So
not thought about,
you don't
but,
wouldn't
like,
say autistic people. You say
special needs.
special needs, or like you would. So like one thing I've learned is like you shouldn't say autistic people. You should say like kids with autism or adults with autism.
Oh, okay. See, that's one thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing that now I learned that you probably learned before.
Yeah, I
Right?
learned that working with special needs.
Special needs. Okay.
Or kids with disabilities.
Kids with disabilities, kids with autism,
Because you're not supposed to define them
by their
label, define them as a person.
okay.
So if you
Oh,
say
I see.
autistic people, it's like they're defined by their disability instead of the person.
Oh,
So you
okay.
say kids with autism, if they're a kid first,
Yeah.
and then they just
Oh,
have
I see, I
autism.
see.
So
Okay,
you said
okay.
you said there was a spectrum, right?
Spectrum, yes.
So what's like the lowest spectrum person that you've had, where it's kind of almost where it's like it's a very minor,
Very mild,
You
but
mean
they're-
mild.
also it's called so
it's enough to be for them
enough
to be, on the spectrum.
spectrum, but like there's still like where do you guys draw that line?
So we don't diagnose, but like what I've seen, right?
Yeah, seen.
So there's the spectrum is high and low. So if you're high on the spectrum, that means you're high functioning. That means you can't recognize. It's hard to recognize. Like if you saw a kid, be like that dude does not have autism. Like he seems normal. He can talk. He can walk. He can.
Is that something you can say? Like someone is normal versus they're autistic?
So it's not normal.
Okay. They're typical.
Yes.
That's the right word.
Correct. So if you say like kid who is typical,
Yeah.
So I'm assuming those kids are
Typical
typical,
kid.
but they have outbursts.
yes, they have outbursts. Or it's like they lack social cues. They can't read. They have a lot of them have dyslexia is common with kids with autism. Dyslexia is like
But someone with dyslexia by itself isn't really
No,
considered
no.
even on the
so
spectrum.
to
right?
be to
That's a
have
stupid question,
autism.
but-
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's right. To have autism, you need to like
Me-
there are things you can test, right? So there's things that we test at our place: listener skills, motor skills, vocal skills, motor imitation. So if I tell you to like do this, so do this is clapping, right? And you're not able to do that, looking at it or listening to it, you might have like, eye contact, right? Eye contact is huge. So kids with autism are not able to make eye contact. Following directions, right? The constant need to, it's called stemming. So when you stem, it's like your brain needs something to calm itself down. So like they'll do something over and over again. So kids with autism will flap or like look around and dance. Like a lot
Does
of these
it-
things are.
Do any of them have any recognizable facial things that they might do, like twitches or like They
Look
might
into
I've seen-
space.
or like
I've
even
seen
like
that
talking to themselves.
Look
I-
into look. You go on.
I've seen the flapping thing.
Flapping. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
It's
that
called
I've seen.
stemming. It's called
Stemming,
stemming.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking
So
into
flapping
distance.
would also be considered a little rude to say.
No,
Not
no,
necessarily.
no, no.
Just the technical term
It's called stemming. Like
stemming. Okay.
like
Okay.
it's still flapping, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it's like, oh, that dude's stemming.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I've seen So one thing that I've always noticed when we had like kids with autism in our school,
Yeah.
like just part of our school, they lack social cues.
Correct.
They have this stemming stuff, like
Yeah.
they stemming,
Yeah.
but there's always something that they're brilliant at.
Correct.
One thing, like
Yeah.
so, for example, one kid that I knew,
Mhm.
he knows like he knows the calendars,
Yeah.
like crazy. You can tell him 2024, the August 24th, what day is it,
Yeah.
and he knows exactly
He'll
what
say
it
it's
is.
like a Thursday.
He'll say it's like a Thursday.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another kid who knows everything you can know about the presidents,
Yeah.
like who their wife was, the wife's family, the vice president, secretary,
pretty
secretary.
good. Yeah.
So it's crazy how they lack the social things that we like function
Correct.
with,
Yeah.
but there's something or some things that they have that they excel at
Yeah.
more than anyone else.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So I mean, those kids are also taught that, right? So that means they were taught to have high listener skills. That means those kids that you're talking about had high receptive skills and listener skills to be able to understand that.
Oh,
Yeah.
about presidents. And
Presidents or
stuff. Are
even
they
like,
considered high functioning, like you said?
I mean, yeah, I think they're great high
So
functioning. to
high
be able-
functioning means like you have high function.
high
right?
function, correct, and then low
But it
functioning is low
doesn't-
function.
Oh, so but on the spectrum, high functioning would be on the lower end of the spectrum, right?
No, high functioning is high functioning, and low functioning is.
I
Low.
think when people think of a spectrum, they're like it goes low to high, right? It goes
Yeah.
a little bit to a lot of it, right?
Yeah, correct. Same
so
thing.
if someone has quote unquote a
Oh,
little
oh,
bit
oh.
of mental
High functioning.
issues-
So we're talking about high functioning in terms of being typical, not
Yes. So high functioning
Typical.
is
Oh.
low on the spectrum, correct?
high functioning is low on the spectrum. Yeah.
Correct.
No, no, no.
low.
The spectrum is
there's no
based
s-
on typical, right? Like
I
you
think
said.
space. No one's ever said like low.
I
So the
think-
way I don't know, a lot of confusion. Let me just clear
Yeah,
it up.
yeah, yeah,
So when
yeah.
someone's high functioning, right? They're like can talk, understand motor skills,
Very close to typical.
very close typical. And
Typical.
low functioning is farthest away from a typical kid.
So you guys don't put that on a spectrum.
No,
That's what we
that is
say.
the-
That
is
is
the
a spectrum.
Oh,
So
got it.
I think it's
got it.
more of a respectful.
I think so.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
Factor.
Got it. Got it.
High functioning, low functioning.
So the spectrum is on functioning.
Correct on functioning.
Compared to
how well,
typ- Typical
So
compared to-
basically, so
how
it,
fu-
so it's not a autism spectrum.
I don't think so. I think it's just based on how well they're able to. Remember, the goal of all this is to make sure they can go back into
The
real life,
world?
right?
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
how well are they able to function in real life?
Yeah, yeah.
Lowly or highly, right?
Okay, okay.
Even I feel bad saying low functioning, right? So sad.
Yeah, yeah.
But that we just use that in school to like understand when it comes to teaching, right?
Right.
In the real world, no one's gonna be like low functioning, high functioning.
So-
You know,
no
a lot
one's,
of a
no
lot
one's
of
gonna do
a
that.
lot of people like me and Rufus, like
Yeah.
when we hear spectrum, we thought of it the
Oh.
whole
Because
time.
we always
as-
hear autism.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
You know autism spectrum disorder.
correct. That's what it's called. Autism spectrum.
Is it-
ASD.
No.
ASD.
Is it?
It's called ASD.
I mean, I just took
It
the
is called
first letter
ASD.
of each of those
It is
words
called
put
ASD,
together. But I
or-
sounded smart, so I'll pretend I knew what it was.
And it's also called developmental delay. But go on.
Yeah, so that's
DD.
when that's where I thought like autism spectrum. There's an autism spectrum, so that's
Uh.
where I do it. But another question was, how do you like? What is the criteria to put them in a low functioning or mid functioning or high functioning criteria?
I got you on this. So like, there's no official.
Roshan currently has his Duncan between his legs, and both me and Rufus are internally freaking out, but we're not saying anything.
Oh,
It's
wow.
okay. It's okay. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for letting me know. So there's no official.
Go ahead, bro.
I think I think it is comparing to typical kids and like the kids that we had, right? There's no official diagnosis. But all right, guys, the kid you have is low functioning. Like, no, never. Or
Yeah.
they'll never say that. Again, this only in schools. I don't think I ever heard anyone say it outside of school. So high functioning is like high receptive, right? So if I tell you to do this, like a reception, or like, what letter is this? You're able to understand and process the information and say it back to me vocally if you're able to speak or like understand what's going on. So if I told Jairus like jump up and down and he can do that, he might be more high functioning. If I can have a conversation with Jairus, if I told Jairus go get that toy and he go gets it, whoa, we talking about high functioning kid here.
Mhm.
But if I told Jairus to go get that toy and he looks around like, and he, I don't want to imitate the kid, but like
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
a sound,
Yeah.
motor like, like toy like sounds like that. he might be low functioning. I can't say that for sure.
Right.
Do more tests, and based on the information, we only say that not to. Again, it's only in schools, right? No one's gonna go out in the road and be like low, high functioning kids. It's only to make sure help them grow and see the level they're at and get them to a more.
Yeah.
So jumping off of that though, do you think you've developed some? Maybe this is not right to say, but do you think you've developed some skills? Um, we have a quota of 10 coughs, so you're at 8.5. So,
Cool.
so
Two
yeah,
more?
I'm just letting you know.
I'm saving the rest.
That's 10 in total for all of us. So
yeah,
now we
yeah,
only
yeah.
have 2
Oh.
more.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
Thanks, Roshan.
Yeah, thank you. Do you think you have a skill when if you like so not obviously not all the time visibly you can't tell if someone's on the spectrum, right?
Correct.
But there are some people that visibly genetically they do have some facial features and stuff that
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, they're on the spectrum. Do you think you've honed your skills since you've started your job to not I feel like saying skills is bad, but do you
To
think
be
you've
observed.
to observe and be like, oh, he might be on the spectrum or something like that?
So I
But-
can. I honestly like. I feel like I've been able to pick up more. Like someone's like, if a kid does like flapping, right,
Right.
on the spectrum, most like chances are likely
Yeah.
they might be on the spectrum, right? I mean, we flap all the time. Humans, typical kids do it too, right?
Yeah.
But if they're not making eye contact, right, the skills if they don't do the skills I tell you,
Mhm.
not making eye contact, running around constantly, like if I say something, they don't listen to what I'm saying, like not able to speak, like all these little things. If they can't do it, chances are likely they are. I cannot diagnose them,
Mhm.
but chances are likely they are on the spectrum. I would say go see a psychologist and make sure. But like, if they're 3 to 5, the age group I work with is 3 to 5, and if you don't have these at that age, you should be worried because kids should be able to do that by 3, 4, talking, listening. Like if they're not listening because of behavior, right? Like if you say clean your room and you just look around like I don't want to clean my room, that's different. You're not listening on purpose, right? Rather than
Yeah, Rufus understands that.
and he, rather than if you say clean your room,
The only person
Yeah.
that cleans Rufus's room is me.
That's not true.
that's not
This
true.
room
It
is
very
clean.
true.
This room is clean right now, and I did it all myself.
Oh,
Rufus did it by himself.
yeah,
I've seen Jairus do no work.
he made his bed. Do the clapping sound. No, on the.
I unplugged my phone.
Oh.
But see, I always this is my own theory,
Yeah,
but I feel like every one of us has these, this, I guess you called it stemming.
yes,
I feel like we all have these
Yeah.
like outburst type of
Yes,
things, but the
yes.
only thing that separates us from those on the spectrum is we know how to contain it.
I mean,
So like sometimes I'll be in the shower
yeah,
and like I'll just like today
Mhm.
I was just talking to myself for a while and doing motions and stuff like that, and I was like, if someone saw me right now,
yeah,
or sometimes you'll get like when I'm alone, I'll get these like outbursts of like just energy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That
yeah.
you would usually see in kids with autism or people with autism.
yeah,
And in my mind, I feel like we just have that high functioning ability to know social cues,
To
when
control
when
it
to
into a
control it.
sense,
Yeah.
We know what's appropriate for social
Correct,
function. We can
correct.
hear, we
Mhm.
can talk, and all
Mhm.
that stuff.
yeah.
I feel like everyone has at least a little bit of
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true. Especially like
Mhm.
twitches. I
Yeah.
find
Twitches.
myself doing
So-
twitches
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
face
yeah,
like that
yeah.
all the time.
So
but,
again, I'm not a psychologist, right?
Mhm.
Don't take my word as
but you're our best
Label.
friend.
You're
yeah,
Yeah.
you're the
yeah.
Yeah.
most valuable source we have right now.
Yeah.
All right, so like from I've learned from other people, especially my friend Ikeichiku Okorji.
Shout out.
Hold the cream.
Hold the cream.
Follow at
Ikichiku.
Ikeichiku Okorji.
Yeah, you figure that out.
Yeah.
this
Figure it out.
stream line
Sin 93,
Sin 93. So what's his album? Stream We Are
where the lines are.
Where the Lines Are. Stream We
Yeah,
Are the
yeah.
Where
We
the
are the
Lines.
lions.
Stan Ike.
Ikeichiku, man.
Ikechiku,
Okorji.
Ikechiku.
What were
on,
you saying?
man.
What were you saying?
Oh man,
I'm not supposed to say.
where we going back to?
No, I was talking about how we all kind of have that.
Oh, correct. So one thing I learned from Ike and like other people is like
You just said his name.
Ikeichiku Okorji, right? That's his musician name.
Oh,
That's why it's his full
I
on
was like,
it's
I've been
on
calling him
Spotify.
Ike this whole
No, on
time.
Spotify and all these accounts, he's called Ikeichiku Okorji.
Oh, okay.
It's no longer Ike. Right,
Oh.
anyway,
Okay.
I apologize.
9.
So, you guys say you guys do that, right? So in order to become, obviously, I said all these things I said you need to have that to consider autism, but to consider something a disorder or consider something to be like something like negative, it has to affect your life, right? If you start twitching everywhere you go,
You can't control
and
it.
you can't control it, and even if you're aware of it, right, but you can't control it, that something's wrong, bro. Like you need to go see someone. But if you're able to be like, yo, I'm outside, stop, then you're not. It's not really a
So
problem.
do you think that on that, so if the kids who are on the spectrum,
Mhm.
they had the ability to vocalize, would they be able to identify that they have it?
So some kids can vocalize.
No,
right?
meaning like, can they say you said
Oh yeah.
we're able to identify that we have it, right?
Yeah.
So do you think kids on the spectrum would ever be like, oh, I have this?
I don't know. Every kid is different, but so the kids I've seen so far have not been able to recognize they're diagnosed with autism.
But also they're 3 or 5, right?
The 3 to 5,
3 to
yes.
5, yeah.
I've not. I dealt with some kids. I've worked at after school program, and there are some like 14, 13, but they've also like still young. None of them has also realized they're diagnosed with
Because
this.
they're probably just enjoying life.
Correct.
Just
The
like
thing
we
is,
did.
kids with autism don't know it's not like even high functioning ones, right? They're not always like aware. Like, no, it's good. I'm glad they're not taught that, right? They're just taught they're a kid, and these are things you have to deal with. It's not like you have autism. Like
Mhm.
it's not like that. Like it's not. It's never been like that.
I
It's always
think
it's always been like, all right, you have a diagnosis that is autism. You have behaviors, right? And you have these situations. How do we manage it in order for you to be in the real world? If you have too much behaviors, like an after school program, if a kid with autism or any disability causes too many problems, right? We'll have something called a TSS worker, and that person redirects them in order to be in that environment. Right? The goal is as they get older to be independent.
Is that you? Is that what you do?
No. I work as a teacher assistant in the morning
Oh.
for kids with autism. That's a reclusive environment. The after school program is a little bit more open.
Oh, after school. Oh, okay.
After school program is a little bit more open. The preschool is very inclusive. It's very strict, right?
Mhm.
It's to help a lot more low functioning kids with more needs.
Mhm,
I'm saying with more needs to build the skills they have in order to go into the real world. Having that more reclusive environment, we can hone those skills. We do a lot of testing. Not testing, I apologize. A lot of practice, like sitting. We have one-on-one sessions with them. Sit down, stand up, practice whatever they need in terms of vocal imitation, vocal skills, listener skills, block imitation, like anything they need in order to go to kindergarten and keep moving forward.
Did you hear about that Shia LaBeouf movie called Honey Boy?
I haven't heard of it.
Is it called Honey Boy?
I think it's called Honey Boy. Honey Boy or Peanut Butter.
Peanut Butter
Chicken-
Falcon.
Peanut Butter. Oh, Honey Boy's a different movie. It's the character that's with him
Yeah.
is he's a man with autism.
Okay.
But like, it's about like in the trailer they talk about how he and the guy, it's a man.
Yeah.
He's a man. They run away together to like go on an adventure.
Yeah.
So I think the purpose of it was not to showcase that he has autism. It was to just show like a person with autism playing a part in a movie.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah.
was like a big focus. But I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But you might like
I'll
that.
check it out.
Yeah.
So So everything that you've trained these kids after they turn 5 and they go to kindergarten,
Yeah.
is that stuff continued, or are they just now in the real world and whatever they train?
I don't know. So
There's
like
probably another place that does.
I've
happen.
been in this field for like 2 years now, and I've dealt with some kids who have left our program after the preschool, and like they've definitely grown a lot, right? The kids I've seen has grown a lot. Like some kids still use there's a thing called icon book, so they take a picture and give it to you. They'll scan it, or they have a device where they like touch on an iPad or something, and they'll say like, "I want to play with toys."
Oh,
So they have devices too.
that's how they communicate.
Depends on how high functioning or how if you're able to do that. Only some kids can do the device.
Oh,
Like-
yeah. I've seen it was on a show, but
So the goal is to get them to an inclusive classroom, like an autism support classroom, which will further hone those skills. But the sad thing is up to the parents. At that, we're not their parents, right? We're just teaching kids. The parents had to help these kids go into a more inclusive classroom. Like they have to keep finding it.
inclusive as in as close to typical as possible.
Close to typical possible, depending on their skill. Like every kid's different. I can't say every kid with autism has to go to this classroom. Maybe you're so high functioning that you can go to a typical classroom and function well.
Yeah.
Like
You've had like classes before someone with autism. Like I'm sure that's happened.
We've had it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Like that means their childhood they were probably taught to be how to sit down, like stand up, follow directions, right? And they were high functioning. They were able to pick it up because of the early intervention, studies show that early intervention does help you prepare more. So because this, maybe if that kid who was in your class might have done early intervention, and because of that early intervention, they were now able to be in a classroom, even though they weren't like super social, right? They still being in that classroom is like, wow, like they made it.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't like the coolest kid.
It's like graduation almost.
Kind of, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
like you, that's the next step to being into the real world, right?
Mm.
Being independent, because a lot of these kids, and like their parents are gonna take care of them the rest of their lives. Some like they're not able to talk, they're not able to sit down, they move around a lot. They're not able to like be like have conversations like this. They're not able to be independent. Typical people can't even find jobs, right? Can't even figure out their own lives.
Yeah, so they have with
Imagine
this,
lack of basics, like skills that we consider basic, right?
Yeah.
How are they able to compete with that? Like it's so like when I think about that, it's like damn.
That's why like when
Damn.
companies like corporate companies like Starbucks and them when
Yeah.
they hire it's like hire people with autism, it's like a big deal.
Correct. And there's like I'm an after school program. They do a thing called Variety Works, and they help kids with disabilities, like that's wide range disabilities, learn skills to work at like janitors, coffee shops, these things that are routine, or like you make a coffee, like you routine it, and then once you just like school, right? If you're able to master school, you then change that skill into working.
a
And then,
job, yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to live with their parents still. It depends on the kid. Like every kid is different. You can't say just because a kid has autism doesn't mean they can't do anything. Like
Yeah, go ahead.
everyone is different. Like there's a show, right? Doctor. There's a kid who has
Oh, the good doctor.
the good doctor,
Yeah.
right? He's a doctor, right? Everyone's different.
Is he a
That's
doctor?
that's an example of those like kids who are on the spectrum or whatever, but
Yeah.
they have that one thing
Correct.
that they are excellent at. You know.
Correct. But not all kids are like that.
Not all kids are like
Majority
that.
is like they always need help redirecting,
Yeah.
make sure their behavior is controlled
Yeah.
or helped out.
Is there a lot of the kids you've seen like clinically diagnosed with like depression or anxiety? Do you know?
So one kid we had before definitely had some sort of like you can't do a diagnosis, like he might have had schizophrenia or something else, like, but he was too young to diagnose. But he would like see
He showed like early signs.
early signs of it. So like
Yeah.
you could do a diagnosis, and your home environment does play a huge role. Like if you don't grow up in a support, like kids with autism imitate, right? If they're able to pick up the skill, like if they had that skill imitation, they imitate everything. So like a kid who has vocal imitation, like if I say one thing, he'll say it the whole day. So you have to be careful what you say. So
Oh.
especially if they see things at home like violence, they'll imitate that. So we have some kids who have aggression, they imitate that from their home and bring it here.
Yeah. That's where when you told me it was 3 to 5, because already 3 to 5-year-olds who are not on that spectrum
Yeah.
is hard to deal with, because they also have that mimicking
Yeah.
mentality and stuff like that.
Only
and then,
some have that skill, but yeah, go
right.
on.
So, but when you take kids at that age, young kids already,
yeah,
and then you add like an autism or a low functioning situation,
yeah,
that's even 10 times more challenging.
correct. Yep, it
That's
is.
crazy.
I was waiting for like a break to like because I don't want to diverge from the topic because it's very interesting.
Yeah,
But let's see if we can talk about something else to like get more about you.
okay. But before we leave this topic,
Yeah.
I just want to say one more last thing. I guess if we change topics,
Go ahead. No, we don't have to.
We can. If you like, I this field is awesome. Like me working here so far, I personally feel like I've seen change a lot of kids. I think early intervention is great. I think the whole like the society is kind of more accepting of it. So many more autism walks. There's so much more like support. People are more open about it. I think the world's become more accepting of it. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to see that.
I think probably the most concerning thing is like, remember you said some parents might like from what you've seen they might be abusive at home or like
Correct.
they don't understand because their
Correct.
education level is low.
Yeah, I think that's changing slowly.
That's
but
changing,
right
yeah.
now, I can see it, but it's slowly becoming more like. Now that we're more aware about it, right? I think the most important thing is in my opinion, getting parents educated about their kid and teaching their kid how to communicate is the most effective
Also
way.
getting past like stigmas because some like
Yeah.
religious stigmas
Yeah,
of like, oh, this kid is just demon possessed.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I've heard that many times, and
Oh,
I
really?
get so
Some
upset.
parents have told you that?
No, like there's, like I know some people, and yeah, like I've heard that, and I was like it's not true. Like it's not nothing wrong with your kid. It's just like being left-handed or something. It's not like that simple, right? But something you're born with.
Yes.
You can't fix. Like there's no need for a cure. It's just like the way you're brought.
Yeah.
Like, it's just who you are.
Yeah.
And then you just learn to deal with it. There's no like cure. You can't cure autism.
Right.
It's not like cancer.
Yeah.
There's something inherently
It's
wrong
not a
with it.
disease.
It's not a disease, but
Yeah.
there needs to be.
Because cancer is incurable
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah, but there has to be a way to like change and like help them understand, right? They just need more help.
Right.
Like if you have dyslexia, you need more help. Like
Yeah.
for autism, you need more help. You just need more help, guide in the right direction to be more independent.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I think also important is like public services. You
Correct.
know how like for people in wheelchairs,
Mm-hmm.
having ramps for people to get in is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And like even
Yeah.
like for example like like if you are watching a TV show and there's no captioning
Yeah.
available,
Mhm.
that's like it's not fair to people who are deaf.
Yeah.
So public services in a sense that
Well,
there
no,
might be,
like
right?
what you
I think
said.
there is.
What you said about Starbucks, that thing is huge because now, in a time where we believe that autism was just like once your kid has autism, it's over.
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna stay at home. They're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But now that you have the resources like you guys do
Mhm.
to give them training where eventually they can work at a Starbucks.
Yeah.
They can do a job
Yeah.
and like benefit themselves and society.
Yeah.
That's a service that you can give for them.
And then like
Correct.
see that more often instead of it being like a big news thing. every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So like the process of making that happen more
Correct.
regularly.
The government, I think, is working. I think nonprofits work on it a lot.
Yeah.
So it would be the goal of the government as well. They do help families with it, but it depends on how much money you make. But yeah, I think that the world is pushing more towards it. It's becoming a very common thing. A lot more nonprofits and companies push towards kids with autism clients too. There's been a lot of push for it. I think it's been more accepting. But yeah.
Are they also trying to like be more inclusive? For example, let's say in like Hollywood, they want more people of like certain movies of different races to be
Yeah.
get lead roles instead of like side characters.
Correct.
Weird. It's like a weird analogy, but then they want to have more spots open.
See,
for
but the
people.
only thing with that is you kind of have to the with different races it's an opportunity for them to do it, but at the same time they can do whatever, right? You're not limited to the storyline. But when you include someone with autism, then that becomes the storyline kind of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like
No, so the point is like making it normal, like to not be like we want someone with autism to play this role of a character with autism, but rather we want this side character and like if it's a
Yeah,
person with autism.
I see what you're saying. It'll be hard because
it'll be hard, yeah.
Because what if that person's like, it depends on, again,
Their
the individual, right? I
functioning.
don't know their function, right? I don't
Mhm.
know what level of diagnosis they have, what their skills are. If it's a like low skills, right? Or like not able to do like make eye contact, not able to like sit down constantly, or like it'll be hard, right? It's gonna be hard to.
Yeah.
But like I guess
But if they're
a lot of people
yeah,
have trouble when people who don't have that thing play the role of someone who does.
Yeah.
People have trouble with that, and that's kind of like whatever. But I mean, that's a different thing. But for example, Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
the kid.
Is this a spoiler? Is this a spoiler?
No,
for-
not the movie, not the movie. Well, this is a spoiler for the show. If you guys,
Oh
didn't
man,
see
I
it.
didn't watch it either.
the kid,
but
the
go
kid
on.
who, the kid,
It's
RJ
fine. It's fine.
No,
Let's go.
it's not. It's not
Go,
really a
go,
spoiler.
Go for it.
RJ Mitty, has cerebral palsy, and he
Yeah.
plays a kid with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where there was a role for it,
Yeah.
and they gave it to
Give
a
it
kid
to
who
him. I
has
see.
it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
They could. It'd be hard. I see what you're saying, bro. But it'll be hard to. I think Rufus is correct. It'll be more easier to just to do that. I mean,
For the role
for
of
the
it.
role of it.
Yeah.
But that'd be the idea, right? Create again. The goal is being the real world where you can't be able to tell.
Right.
That'd be the goal, right?
Mhm,
So if they are diagnosed with autism and they're playing a typical role,
They made it.
Yeah.
That-
And that goes with this. Like,
Yeah.
for example, if there are young kids who with autism,
Yeah.
that are working at Starbucks,
Yeah.
then in the movie they can be working at Starbucks.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
Correct. Yeah, 100% agree.
So if they can do it in the real world, then they can play it in the movie as if it was
Correct.
a real world.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking about movies
Yeah.
and the process of making a movie,
Yes.
specifically the creative process of making a movie,
Yeah.
Roshan, you are a very creative person,
Oh
right?
man.
Do you agree? Speak now. That whatever answer you give determines how
Yeah.
people think of you.
I believe I'm creative. Yes.
Wow, you are so arrogant.
I am.
Yeah, you're never returning.
Goodbye.
Okay, so without giving any secrets away of your
Yes.
creative process,
Okay.
uh, you want you want to be creative every day, right?
Correct. Yes. That's
So
correct.
what is something like when you wake up? What's it something like an agenda you have for the day where you're like, okay, I'm gonna somehow make, even if it's like this small creative thing I do, I want to end up doing it by the end of
By
the
the
day.
way, Roshan texts me like maybe 2 times a month saying he wants to do something creative.
And then
So
Rufus.
this is not like random. This is
And
for
Rufus
real.
goes, "Hey, bro.
He
sorry,
doesn't.
sorry,
He doesn't
sorry,
respond.
sorry, text.
T-
Yeah, let me know whenever you want, bro."
And then Roshan's like, that was from 2015.
So usually when I
11.5.
oh man,
Now
you
it's
guys,
an overdraft.
You guys don't you dare cough. Anyway,
We won't. We won't.
so when
So
I usually wake up and I go, I'm flawless.
You think about Jairus?
Flawless.
That's where
I
all the
woke up like
creativity
this.
dies.
I woke up like this.
People with flaws
Flawless.
are how they are creative.
I think
most
I
creative.
feel like for you a lot of the times it's with I know you talked about like movie making or whatever that is, but
Correct.
for you I feel like music wise too.
Yes.
Your
yes.
that's where a lot of your
Oh
creativity
man,
lies.
there's a lot of doors being opened up. But yes, I
Well,
do.
Opportunity
we can stick
knocks.
with music if that was the direction here, but
So like, I think the question was like, what do I do to be creative? So one thing I've
If you don't want people to know your secrets, then don't say it.
okay.
Yeah. If you don't trust
Goodbye.
us.
No. One thing I've learned and read and seen people I look up to who are creative and go about this is writing. So I focus like everything we do as a creative has to stem from writing, because we write down our ideas, write down what we're gonna do, write down the plan, how we're gonna go forth with it, what are the steps for it. Even if it's not writing itself, right? Even writing you're gonna do the song or writing you're gonna do the movie, like it's just writing it
That's
down.
like the base.
Base. Because then you're like, oh
Boom,
man,
boom,
like
boom, boom.
it's I created it on paper. It's there somewhere from my mind into a physical tangible.
Yeah.
Even typing it, right? At
Yeah.
least it's somewhere. It's not like my imagination.
Don't be typist, okay?
so
Typing
so
counts.
so for you like when you see something,
Yeah.
so for a lot of people when they see something it triggers imagination in something.
Yeah.
But for you it triggers imagination in, oh, this would be cool lyric, or this would be a cool like thing to film.
Correct. So
Uh,
film. Yeah, so like for me, I've sort of subbed like we can talk about this.
Another episode. Yeah.
But-
Let's do about like 10 more minutes.
Okay, so for me, I would try to do like
Listener, don't leave. You know you have 10 minutes left. I swear, if you click pause, I can't do anything about it. But
even if you make it home already, you
Yeah.
stay in the car and finish this before you get in.
Yeah. Even if your mom is yelling at you, Mone, come in. Your chapati is getting cold.
Mone means sun.
Mone means son.
Chapati means chapati.
Yeah.
Chapati means
Figure that out.
It's like bread for our white listeners.
What
It's like
for
flat bread.
African American?
Well, if you still don't know what chapati is, then it's like bread.
You need to hang out with more
Flat
Indian people.
All right. Anyways,
What was the question?
Creative process with films and stuff like that.
Films, I feel like it should be like something I am inspired by or like want to do. Music has always been my personal experience
since the beginning,
since the beginning. Yeah,
even like high school, you write down stuff.
high school I
Probably.
wrote poems.
Poems, yeah.
So low key secret, I guess. No, I'm not gonna say it anymore.
Say it.
Well,
But you have to
I've
cover the mic when you
actually-
do it, so no one else hears.
I wrote like 2 poem books.
Well,
ASMR. Roshan,
we
ASMR
found your
with
poem
Roshan
books.
Huh?
We found your poem books.
No,
and
you
we're-
did. Did you actually?
Yeah, they're
Actually,
Wait,
my
I returned-
songwriting
I
book. Yeah, I have my songwriting book.
Yeah, but like the crazy thing is,
Mhm.
for me,
Mhm.
creativity. Let's say musically, your like creativity
The app?
for me is never lyrics. Like I even took a songwriting
really?
class, and I creativity wise with lyrics, like I'm not good at it.
Mhm.
But with with creating melodies
dude. Yeah.
or beats or whatever like that. I love that. So
That's another sponsor.
So that's where like Roshan, I know you can like write
yes.
a lot and
Appreciate that.
anything.
Yes.
Like whatever you like anything you can write about a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And that's not a skill a lot of people have.
Yeah.
For me, I it's not that I don't I just hate it.
yeah.
I hate writing.
So what Roshan tries to do is like he tries to assemble us like the Avengers because he knows each of us has like a
True.
good field that we're in. So he tries to assemble all of us together to make a project that can save the world.
Yes.
Save the world, right?
Save the world.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, to save the world.
But Rufus is a great instrumentalist. Beyond my gosh, I can't even fathom or speak about. Like he's amazing. When we jam out, Rufus goes. Let me hear that once. Oh yeah.
Do you think you have perfect pitch? Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wait.
Arrogant.
What's a perfect? Oh, like
What thing you have?
He's like, well,
no. What is
I
it?
might.
What is it? Is that when you like you can say what C is?
Yeah.
No, I don't have that. But I
Do D sharp.
no. But what I do is
Wah, wah, wah,
one thing.
wah, wah.
One thing that I can sometimes I get on the spot, like I get right,
Yeah.
is if you say, let's say you give me a song that I've listened to a long time, I can probably start it on the right
Yeah.
thing because I've heard it so many
On
times
the right key.
on the right key.
Yeah.
That
That's
a
right.
lot of musicians can do,
Yeah.
but the perfect pitch thing I can't do. I can't do that, but I can do the. I think the song is in the
Like
sometimes,
sometimes you're like humming a song and then you check to see if it
And
was
it's
the
right,
same-
and
that's
it's right.
Yeah.
and
do
I
that
think
too.
that's just a thing with familiarity with the song. But I don't have a perfect pitch. But I wish I did.
Do you have perfect pitch?
You know how much
I wish.
you know how useful perfect pitch would have been, especially at
I
church
feel
stuff.
like I feel
Yeah.
like certain people with perfect pitch though at other things are not that good. Like they can be like, yeah, that's C, and then someone will be like, all right, play this song on the spot. They'll be like,
But
I
Rufus can
need
hear a
notes."
song and
But-
know it. How's that? That's basically perfect pitch. You can hear a song and be like, C F O O C D E.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, once
Well,
once
in
that
a
that's
key.
just a progressions.
Yeah, yeah.
From the
Oh,
beginning,
okay.
progressions. Yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
like perfect pitch, I don't have. Yeah.
Jairus has no skills.
I don't.
And then I saw a thing of like, so I just discovered if any of you are like worship people, musicians.
at worship podcast.
I'm plugging the Honest Worship podcast again.
Shout out to Sammy.
Check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor.
Stan Sammy. Follow
Ooh.
him at Sammy on Instagram.
And Samuel John. Sammy John.
At Sammy.
No, so I saw his worship field thing, and a lot of like big scale churches,
Yeah.
they have live auto tune on their mics.
Oh, what?
But
That's
what
so
hap-
stupid.
Yeah,
What
they
is
have
that?
live auto tune. That's why it sounds so good.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, they
like
have
Hillsong.
Yeah, but there's been mess ups where they hit the wrong note and it gets stuck there. They can't bring it back down because the auto tune's correcting it in that pitch.
Oh man.
And so there's been some auto tune fails. It's hilarious.
I gotta check this out.
You want me to play one?
Wait, yeah. If
Hold
you,
on, I'm gonna play one.
hold on, you're telling me that if I go to Hillsong Conference 2011 and I play a CD, those live songs are auto tuned?
If you go to Hillsong and play a CD,
Like let's
Live CD, right?
yeah, like Hillsong Live CD.
the audio is edited after like a ton, and even live, if you're there, it's auto. There's a lot of auto
So
tune.
you're telling me my vocal cord surgeries were for no reason?
Yes.
There should have been some other surgeries you spent your money on.
Oh, but I.
Oh! That was probably loud. Sorry, listener. Don't leave. Don't leave.
All right, let me
I see you. I see you, listener.
let me play you an example, and you'll come to see what I'm
How
talking
can
about.
you play an example? An example is just a English term used to describe. Roshan, finish.
Life.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna play an example for you.
The listener's getting tired. He's like, all right,
Sorry, here, listen.
my
Here.
chapa. That was loud.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, it's
So
stuck.
he went too high, and the auto tune over corrected it, and he couldn't bring it back down because the auto tune was sticking it there.
Oh, that's so awkward.
This was Hillsong.
That's Hillsong?
That was
Which one?
Hillsong.
Which one?
This was probably the one.
Hillsong, what? The original? No, Hillsong, Young and Free.
Hillsong, the OG?
United.
No,
Hillsong,
this song doesn't seem old. Let me.
Hillsong, Young and Free.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Can you imagine?
Yeah, so that's why even
After
you
that,
ever-
after that concert, he was not found. He was never seen again.
Oh, Here's another funny
and
one.
the pastors in the area gained weight.
You never thought how you never thought how Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Jason Derulo, all these people can dance and stuff and stay on pitch.
Because they are lip syncing.
They're either lip syncing or sometimes you'll hear them breathing, so you know they're not lip syncing, but they're auto tuned.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah, because like
Oh man, we should have made this a whole podcast.
We have
Another
more. There's more.
What?
It's another podcast.
No. I can't have you on again.
What?
You used up your cough quota, okay? I told you right before. If you use up your cough quota,
so
I can't have
there's this kid.
I'm just kidding.
There's
Let's
this
do
kid
this.
who was a worship leader, and
Yeah.
so he was leading a song, and it kind of went south because he's in that stage of puberty.
Yeah.
So I'll play
to
it.
Alabama.
Ah, dude, that's hilarious.
He tried to get everyone hype.
Oh, I want to cry.
This is a page called Worship Fails. I'm
Shout out to
plugging
Casio.
Worship Fails. Check it out. It's hilarious. It's not hilarious.
Oh my god!
But
Wait, so you watch this and like you don't cringe?
I cringe, but I can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Do you cringe,
I cringed.
bro? And
There's
whenever I hear
times
this,
a lot of them is where the lead line
Yeah.
or like the lead line they're doing the wrong key,
Yeah.
so they're hyping up and the lead line plays in a completely wrong key and everyone's just staring. It's so awkward.
whenever I think about this, I think of the one time. All right, so it was during a dress rehearsal for a musical that I was in high school, and I was supposed to go sing for like the girls' basketball team national anthem, and I go in there like dressed up, makeup on. All the people are looking at me like I'm a clown,
Yeah.
and then like I plug
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. And then I put my makeup on, and then I really look like a clown. Just kidding. And then
you started laughing.
and then I started laughing.
And then the world.
Wait,
Um,
have you seen Joker?
I
By
saw
the way?
Joker. I saw Joker.
Oh my gosh,
Wait,
that's for
wait,
another
wait.
episode.
That's another episode.
Hold on. And then I sang, and it was just the worst, most cringy performance because I changed key halfway through, and the girls behind me, they were like, "Whoa, what's
That's a
going
girl.
on?" Huh?
You're a girl.
Wait, did you have music?
No, I didn't.
So was it that bad?
Oh my god, I don't want to think about it. Then I plugged. Oh, bleh. All right, go change the conversation.
Plugged what?
I'm dying. Bleh. I plugged the musical after, as if I was getting paid. 5 times.
Good job.
They were. That's where he got kicked out of the musical. He plugged something he wasn't even in anymore.
Awkward.
All right, go. What are you saying?
I don't know. I know we were gonna. I was gonna ask him how he liked the Joker, but you don't. Want you want to spoil it?
Let's not. I mean, what'd you think?
It was a dark, dark world.
Oh my gosh,
That's it.
that
That's
movie was.
Oh wait, coming from
Crazy.
your expertise.
Yes.
As
What?
a- as a
let's
clown.
say. This is how I was thinking.
Okay.
Like positively.
Okay.
Let's say early on, so his whole mom and dad situation that was abusive or whatever.
Yeah.
But let's even say from the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
he had a lot
This
of
is
problems.
spoiler. This is a spoiler alert.
It's okay.
No, no,
yeah.
no.
It's
He
fine.
had a lot of
people will turn it off by this point.
He had a lot of problems, but he was still he was very optimistic in the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So let's say all of the things that he wanted to have happened
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
What do you think the outcome would be for a person who had that upbringing? Let's say his mom truly, like, let's say that that was
Okay.
his father, and let's say Thomas Wayne was like, oh, all right, you can come live, and then he actually got to go on the Murray Show. That clown job, like, he wasn't like deceived.
Yeah.
And, let's say all of those things turned good.
Yeah.
Is he still gonna eventually just become
No.
no?
No, of course not.
No, because everyone has negative instances, right? I see what you're saying.
He's already at that point, right?
Yeah.
So he's already at a point
Everyone can change. So that was the tipping point. So he was at that point, right? Like at that point of his life. It's more than just the disability, right? If you have a strong community,
The tipping point, I think, is when he learned about what his mom, who
correct.
his mom was. Yeah.
Even if he had a strong community, he had no sense of community, right? If he had some sort of someone like his mom is not, he was supporting his mom. No one was helping him.
Yeah.
Literally no one, not even his counselor. She was like, "Yeah, did you read your journal?" She saw negative.
She
thoughts.
wasn't really listening to
She
what he was
wasn't,
saying.
and she saw negative thoughts, and she was alarmed.
Yeah.
You know, like when the only thing that he had was really that laughing problem, that outburst of laughing.
No, not just that. He had a whole slew of problems.
Yeah,
No,
he-
no. Like he had upbringing problems, but like personally,
You
his
mean mentally?
mentally he had like when he interacts with his mom. There's a scene where he's feeding his mom. He's really normal in that,
yeah.
and you only see that side when he has that laughing fit. There's no other thing except like
He has a lot of other problems.
like what?
He doesn't
Because-
know social skills. If you listen to like
The
uh,
laughing thing is not indicative of a mental problem. Think of Parkinson's.
No,
That
no.
doesn't-
It's not a mental. It's not a mental thing. That's
Right.
just a thing he
But
struggles.
why
with.
else would he be seeing a therapist?
there's other reasons. He has like depression, but also like with his mom, he feels a sense of community, right? He feels safe around her.
Yeah, yeah.
Around the world, he doesn't feel safe. That's
Yeah,
what
so-
he
but-
has social anxiety too. So the whole
Yeah.
problem is he has these things that negative views of the world, right? In the movie, the reason why I think people left the movie, I felt this way honestly too. Like movies are supposed to make you feel good.
Left the movie? Oh.
I didn't leave. People left the movie, right?
Mhm.
The movie is supposed to make you feel good, right? This movie was very like, the world is a dark place. The world is a dark place. That was it. That was the message.
Mhm.
That the world is a dark and scary place.
Well,
It repeated over and over again. The
Yeah.
world is a dark
But-
and scary place.
But like, if you're gonna set the movie is a setup of a villain. Like, what else outcome do you
that's
want?
yeah.
no,
that's-
no, no. I don't think it's supposed to be a villain. I think I think it's supposed to sympathize with the Joker. I think the whole point of this movie was to make you sympathize with him. Like this guy is not really a bad guy. He just had bad experiences and nobody helped him. But I think I talked to my friend about this, and this movie shows what Gotham really was and why Batman even came to become Batman. Right? Gotham was a dark place and not helping people. That's where all these villains show up. Like there's the hero theory, right? Like Batman only came up because of people, right? Of people, but then Batman started wearing a mask, and then these people that were bad started wearing a mask. So it goes back and forth, right? But they were people. Gotham was not a good city. It's a bad city to live in. That's where the Batman
Yeah.
grew up.
It's not really to like sympathize with the Joker, but to more understand what made him that way.
Yeah,
Versus him just being evil for no reason. And so then like one of the reviews was like it just shows like how the mental system failed, like the mental health
Correct,
system
it
failed him,
did.
the government failed him, and so that's like real world applications.
correct.
But
It
it's,
is.
But- yeah.
it's so crazy because what I kept doing, like just not on purpose, but you kind of
You
see.
started cackling to yourself.
No, no. You see.
the-
You see. You
shower.
you see. Oh gosh, no. If I ever start doing that, you need to figure that out. You see Joker in the beginning,
Yeah,
and you see Joker in the beginning how he's like trying to cope with the world and trying to look positive or whatever, and then I think of Heath Ledger's Joker, and you see
Oh, I
how
see. You're
different they are.
You're comparing.
You know what's
it,
crazy?
yes.
Yeah, you see like, dang, if this is a story of Joker,
Yeah,
these two were let's just assume that they had the same. These are the two same Jokers.
yeah,
Just to see how evil, like how crazy he is in Dark Knight,
yeah,
to how he is in the beginning of this Joker movie.
yeah.
Well, the reason is this is a new Joker. Some of people's complaints were that they didn't get a Joker movie, but that's because this was a fresh Joker. He just started. Whereas Heath Ledger's Joker, it could have been years and years.
Right?
That
No,
he just-
yeah, I understand that. That's years and years later.
Yeah,
But you wouldn't even assume an origin story of like this for that Joker. You would just assume that like this kid came out like that.
correct, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah.
so they did like this Joker comparison like terms, and so like Heath Ledger's is like a pyromaniac or something where he just likes destroying stuff. But that's not Todd Phillips' Joker is different. This one was more of a let's kill the rich. Sort
Yes,
of,
But
yeah.
but let's kill the rich. But at the end, that changed because he killed the count when in jail the lady who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
he just killed her.
No, well,
Or assumed-
technically,
assumed-
it's
assumed.
assumed.
And
Yeah.
he walks out of there with blood on his.
But
face.
So-
also, she might be rich. She might be what was she? She was a like a detective. She was something, but she might have been on the wealthy side of society. So we never know.
I mean, a theory I had, like a fun theory, is like, what if he thought of the whole thing? It was a delusion the whole
That's
time.
another theory.
Like the whole thing was a delusion.
But then apparently
But-
Todd Phillips said that's someone's theory, but that's not our theory.
I think it's
wait,
it's
the whole movie was a.
delusion.
But
Remember?
then there's then how does even Joker get to that point?
I know. I'm just a fun theory. Like it
That's
could be.
so fun.
No, but it was crazy. Like when
He runs like a
when
clown.
when he that
Oh
whole
my god, his acting.
the
is so
relationship that he had
Yeah.
that the imaginary one, That blew my mind.
I knew it wasn't real because first off, there was a moment she was like, "Were you following me?" And he was like, "Yeah. Do you
And
want
then
to
she
come?"
was like, "All right,
All right, that's cool. I was like,
hey, okay."
hell no,
Hmm.
hell no.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a show I watch. I don't want to give it away. What?
Naruto,
No. It's a real life. It's on HBO. Anyway,
Boruto.
there's something like this, and actually, do you guys watch Fight Club?
No,
Is that with
No, never mind. There's a
movie?
movie. No, it's a TV show I watched, and it did something similar to it. And then I knew it wasn't real. That characters can be delusional, so I knew it was delusion for that. I was like, this girl, and everyone's like, "Yo, she bad." There's no way Joker got with that. You saw memes.
Oh yeah.
Did you see his interview? Joaquin
You know,
Phoenix's interview.
you know she was in Deadpool.
No, I didn't know.
She's Domino.
Oh, she's Domino. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I looked up the actress name.
yeah,
She
I
was pretty
recognize.
cool.
You see Joaquin Phoenix's interview with Jimmy Kimmel?
No,
That's probably the most cringiest thing I've ever
It's
seen. in my
cringy.
life.
It's not Jimmy Kimmel's fault.
Huh?
It's not.
what happened? What did he
No,
do?
it's not Kimmel's fault. He was just. I mean, he was being a little overabundant. I think Phoenix went in expecting that he would ask these type of questions, so he was already out of it. But like, you're going in for a talk show host.
He's a little weird. Not a little. He's very
Oh,
weird.
he's
Yeah.
weird. Oh, that's
He's
sad.
weird, yeah. But
He did an interview on Letterman for a movie,
Yeah.
but he was in character, and no one knew about it. He was in character, kind of like Borat, that guy.
Yeah.
You know how he's always in character or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was in character for this movie, displaying like Hollywood people, but he was like this depressed weirdo. And Letterman was so confused the entire time.
Oh,
And then he
man.
shows up a year later on Letterman explaining, after Letterman finds out
this
this
was
for a
all
movie.
an experiment, and then Letterman's like, okay,
It
we.
sounds like this guy could be the real life Joker.
You know how crazy it is. Whenever I see an actor or someone like unique, I always want to see them on Hot Ones.
Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal.
Hot Wings.
Hot Ones.
Hot Ones. Yeah.
With
Hot
Sean
Wings.
With the Hot Wings, right?
Yeah, with Hot
with
Wings.
Hot Wings. Whenever I see someone, I'm like, what would they be like on Hot Ones?
Yeah.
That's why Shia LaBeouf is one of my favorites.
Shia
He was
LaBeouf.
on-
Did
he
you see
was
Shia
on-
LaBeouf's Hot Ones?
I haven't seen it. I'll check
Oh
it
my
out.
god, it's so good. And then Liza Koshy as Rufus' ultimate favorite actress.
Really? She's cool.
I do not like Liza Koshy at all.
Hey,
Oh,
she is
dude.
Marlu. You better.
I don't
you
like
better
her. She's
respect
half.
our people.
I don't like
half
her.
Marlu.
I don't like.
half enough.
I don't
What's
like
the
what's her
other
name?
half?
Superwoman.
Latina?
Superwoman.
American.
Oh, she's white.
I don't like super.
American.
I don't like super.
Oh my god.
Supergirl. Superwoman.
Superwoman. Yeah.
I don't like Superwoman. I don't like Liza
Why?
Koshy.
Listen, what if they're listening
Sounds
to this
like
right
you're
now?
anti-feminist.
Huh?
Sounds like you're anti-feminist.
That's a different issue. We'll-
Now
that's
we're
for-
diverting the
that's-
subject.
That's for my brother's last podcast. Last ever.
You gotta listen to it. You gotta listen. To it. Oh, my recent one.
Oh, I thought you meant like last ever.
No,
I think
no.
that's what he meant.
I
too.
meant the last podcast because that will be the last podcast yet.
All right, guys. So we've hit exactly 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Yes.
So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Viewer, thank you for listening. Roshan, thank you for coming on the
follow
podcast.
me.
Follow at row your boat on Instagram.com
Yes.
and follow
Just follow me there.
follow him there. Then he'll decide what. It's a private account, so he'll probably won't accept your request. Thank you to Rufus for setting up this sound.
Thanks, Rufy.
Plug Rufus, plug your IPC Philly.
We have a IPC Philly page. We have a Back to the Bible page. We have a the Honest Worship podcast
Praise the
page.
Lord, praise the Lord.
We have I actually have no secondary pages on my own. I should start
You
one.
should.
I don't know what to do though.
Rendering
Music.
Rube.
Huh?
Music.
Yeah, but I don't do
Then
even
start.
though I have this stuff, I don't record.
Rufus has literally a music studio in his room.
Yeah. You can see it in the video.
In the video, yeah, literally 4 guitars behind Jairus.
This podcast is also will be on YouTube at Rendering J.
Oh,
like
it
that.
is?
Yeah, I'm gonna put
Oh, because it's a video.
it's a video.
Oh,
So
dang.
thank you, viewer, for listening. If you stayed until this much, please send
You know
me a
what'd be-
personal email, and I will literally send you cash. Because
You know what would be a
stayed.
cool idea?
What?
So for our Honest Worship podcast, I showed you,
Yeah,
we'll be most likely eventually
yeah.
be doing a live podcast
Oh, nice.
at a worship event.
Okay.
So that'd be cool if you can get if ever Hold the Cream is invited or something and you wanted to do a live podcast
We need one more mic.
Oh,
and you record it video.
but it has to be a worship thing.
No, not at this thing. But if there's an event where you can do something, you can do a podcast and you can talk and you can make it open to public.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the way I end my podcast is we say a word and then we start off loud and then we go end it and
Okay.
all the way down we end it.
Okay.
So what's the word we're gonna say?
Hold.
No, we'll say beard.
Beard. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna start off loud and then just go all the way down and end it. Ready?
Okay.
Set, go.
Beard.